Okay, what the fuck, really? With the news today, I will tell everybody that the news that I posted today was not terribly um, um, was not terribly ill positive, in my opinion. Um, as I look for people to pick on, um, anyway, um, so let's just go right to it. So all the markets are in free fall. By the way, it's well after the hour. Has anyone looked at the Dow Jones? The Dow Jones is actually starting to recover a little bit. I don't know. So it rebounds 1,400 points uh, from yesterday. So now it's over 39,000 points in recovery, um, which is kind of shocking. But I mean, in theory, we could be going, or we're already into a bear market. So naturally, there's going to be buy uptake that happens as a result of that. But regardless, um, so I'm still asserting that the markets are in free fall, and that investors are still panic selling. So it hemorrhaged from Thursday to Monday 10% of its value from the tariff amount announcement. And so Peter Navarro, um, with the biggest shit eating grin across his face, uh, guaranteed two things: one, no recession, and two, that the Dow Jones would eventually hit 50,000 in this golden age. And so what Navarro has said is the market is finding a bottom. What kind of a bottom? Like, a hot bottom? Um, Maybe a power bottom? I don't know. These are all gay references. And he indicated this to Laura Ingraham uh, with deranged confidence. How's that going to happen? Dow 50,000? I guarantee that. And I guarantee no recession. And so, how is he going to do that? Well, here's what we'll get down to the regressional analysis at the bottom as to why that's actually not going to be the case. Um, so the raw visceral impact of these tariffs is already ripping through the economy like a chainsaw through butter. Um, the base 10% tariff on nearly all imports is just the beginning of an economic bloodbath. Higher reciprocal tariffs, which are coming. The European Union is already going to reciprocal tariff the U.S. China is already going to reciprocal um, the U.S. tariffs. So they're already lining up. Um, Higher reciprocal tariffs on specific nations threaten to torch and, as a result, fuck the rest of the market. That mounting pressure begins with their inevitable climb and the suffocating anxiety of business owners wondering how they'll afford their next shipment of goods. On One Midwestern soybean farmer described the situation with real clarity. It's like watching a slow motion car crash. We can see the disaster coming, but we're strapped in the passenger seat while Trumpy McFartface drives us straight into a fucking wall, which is what they are doing. Um, for American consumers, this means the grip of inflation will tighten around all of our throats, choking us completely near to death. Everything from clothes to food, it's all about to get drastically more expensive because of the tariff changes. Smartphone in your pocket. I hope you don't want a new iPhone because it's going to cost you about $4,000. Um, all of this will carry a premium of the Trumpy tax. Um, and so the GOP as a whole has become aware of this. They are completely cognizant of the fact that this is happening. So What happened yesterday was in a rare display of something that resembles courage. I don't know what the fuck it is because I don't expect any Republican, any conservative Republican, to show any kind of a backbone. But apparently, um, some Republican senators are pushing back against the golden calf. 7 GOP senators have co-sponsored legislation led by Grassley that would limit the president's tariff authority, sunsetting new tariffs after 60 days unless Congress approves them. Tom Tillis included a stark warning: without an off ramp from this trade war in the next 60 days, the U.S. could face serious economic troubles. So there are members of the GOP that see this. They're aware of it. Do they approve it? Do they support it? I mean, 60 days, that's kind of bullshit. Basically, what the GOP is saying is you can have whatever tariff power you want, but if you tariff somebody and it starts to fuck the market up and ruin all of our lives, then after 60 days, the tariff is off and fuck you. I think that is still bullshit because 60 days of any tariffing will continue to fuck the country over and will continue to ruin our economy going forward. I think 60 days is bullshit. Senator Kramer, North Dakota, stated with unusual clarity that farmers need certainty. As farmers enter planting season and secure loans, they're doing so under a cloud of paralyzing uncertainty. But I'm not handing out medals for these bitches yet. The bill faces a threatened veto from the White House, specifically Trump, who said, "I will veto any attempt to stop my tariff power ability," which is bullshit because, Trump is, a whiny sissy bitch who can't understand why he doesn't get his way. And Republican leadership are still backing Trumpy McFart faces despite the market meltdown. So they're still supporting him, even though they're saying, well, we need to have a little bit more control over what tariff power you have and don't have. Senate Majority Leader John Thune and Speaker Mike Johnson continue to cup the president's balls while whispering sweet nothing about to him about giving him all the latitude that he needs, which is fucking bullshit. So then, let's talk about the global response. So as if domestic economic chaos weren't enough, our international relationships are going up in flames. The European Union is planning to vote on retaliatory tariffs. This week, China has accused the U.S. of blackmail after threatening an additional 50% tariff if they don't withdraw China's retaliatory 34% tariff, calling it a mistake on top of a mistake. The Chinese government has not minced words. They have said that they are vowing to fight to the end. That's not diplomatic language. That's economic warfare, and you're actually watching it happen. Remember when America was respected on the world stage? That's not the case anymore. When our trade relationships were complex but generally productive, bullshit. That's done. When we weren't the global economic equivalent of a drunken bar fighter challenging everyone to a brawl that we know we're going to fucking lose? Right, exactly. We were never that, but we're that now. We've all turned into Begbie from Train Spotting. Don't go watch that movie, by the way. Those days are gone, replaced by the grotesque reality where Trumpy McFartface flips the bird to decades of carefully crafted trade agreements while Navarro fantasizes about making iPhones in America. Does anybody have any idea how likely it is that iPhones will be made in America? Guess what? Don't hold your fucking breath. Even in his own weird, fucked up utopian fantasy that Trump has going on in the back of his head, robots still get taken care of first. Yes, Ramsey, you're completely fucking right. So now comes the question. Who the fuck do I believe in all of this bullshit? The White House can't get its story straight. Navarro suggests the tariffs are non-negotiable. Scott Bessent has indicated that dumping Donald is willing to negotiate with 50 to 70 of the countries that he's tariffed, a process that could take months, which means the tariffs will continue, On top of that, Scott Bessent has come out and said that all the federal employees who have been laid off or fired from their jobs, those people can go and work in the factories and work on the farms and take those jobs. Really? Federal workers going to work, jobs that only a migrant worker would work. I can't. I can't even at this fucking point. Meanwhile, Trumpy McFartface himself said, "We're going to get fair deals and good deals with everybody, and if we don't, we're going to have nothing to do with them. They're not. They're not going to be allowed to participate in the United States at all." Exactly. And so, what Donald Trump is saying in this statement is, if you don't buy American goods, fuck you. Okay. I hate to make this analysis, but has anyone been to Europe? Do you see American cars in Europe? I've been to Europe a few times, many times. There aren't American cars there. Go to Japan. See American cars there? No. Um, go to Prague. See American cars there? No. Italy? No. South America? Not really. I mean, really, just not. And here's the thing. You go buy your Dodge truck jacked up this fucking high because your wee wee is this big in Munich, Germany, and then try to drive that down the Autobahn. Won't happen. Your big 4x4 Dodge truck, too big of a car for that road. Ramsey, you're completely right. Yeah, American cars were not built or made for European roads and European infrastructure. Just not. So Trump can go, self-suck himself for all I give a shit. It's never going to happen. It's economic policy by mood swings, strategic vision by tantrum. The world's largest economy is now being run by a toddler who's having a tea party where the rules change whenever the host gets bored or upset. Even Elon Musk, the reliably sycophantic Trumpy McFartface ally, has shown opposition to the tariffs in recent days. And let's be clear, Kimball Musk, Musk's brother, who's on Tesla's board, by the way, is actively attacking Trump and his tariffs and saying the tariffs are bullshit. So there are members of Musk's family now that are leaning into and attacking Donald Trump over his Trump tariff bullshit. How long before Musk himself starts to say this needs to stop? Well, not long, because apparently it's being reported that Musk has asked Donald to rescind the tariffs. Stop your tariff bullshit. We're losing money. I'm losing money. You're losing money. You need to stop this shit. And Trump just brushed him off and said, I don't give a shit. Shut up. So at what cost? What is the human cost of all of this? So behind the abstract concepts of tariffs and trade wars are real Americans facing real devastation. Think about small business owner Jessica Martinez in Michigan, who imports components for the medical devices her company manufactures. Her costs just shot up between 10 and 25%. She'll either have to raise prices, making her less competitive, cut staff, which destroy American jobs, or absorb the cost, which could bankrupt her business and fuck her over. Or consider the Taylor family in Iowa, fifth-generation corn farmers, who sell 40% of their harvest to international markets. As retaliatory tariffs kick in, those markets will disappear utterly. It literally will disappear and go away. Their farm, which survived the Great Depression and multiple recessions, might not survive Trump's trade war. These aren't hypothetical scenarios. These are inevitable human consequences of economic policy created by an administration that values tough guy posturing, because you have a tiny wee-wee, over actual expertise. JP Morgan Chase is already predicting a recession. BlackRock CEO thinks we might already be in one. The Dow Jones has lost 10% of its value since the tariff announcement. These aren't liberal talking points. This is the shit that's actually happening. Yet Navarro, with breathtaking audacity, like a giant fucking asshole, calls the vision the golden age of maybe him getting pissed in the face because that's what's happening. I don't know yet. We'll fucking see. If this is the dawn of the golden age, it's the one where gold is being hoarded by those who need it while the rest of us get the shaft. The truth is, which stings like alcohol in an open wound, is we are witnessing an economic experiment conducted by ideologues who do not understand what the fuck is happening or why the fuck it's going on. They're playing chicken with the entire American economy, and we're all strapped to the passenger seat waiting to hit the wall. So the conclusion? We're fucked. Just admit it. Everybody accept it. We're fucked. And not by a little bit. We're fucked a lot. A huge amount. The path we're on leads to economic pain, global isolation, and potential recession, if we're not already in a recession now. This isn't alarmism. It's a consensus view that actual economists who don't have Trumpy McFartface's ass prints on their lips, they see this. There's still time to avoid the worst outcomes, but it would require an administration willing to listen to experts rather than echo its own fucked up asswad delusions. It would require Congress with the collective spine to stand up to presidential overreach and tell Donald to astroglide his middle finger and stick it up his ass. It would require an American public informed and engaged enough to demand better. Well, I mean, here I am trying to inform all of you, so I'm at least doing my part, but let's all just continue to do that for everybody else. So prepare yourself. This isn't a drill. This is the beginning of an economic storm that could reshape America's position in the world for many generations to come, just like Donald Trump wants it to, but I don't think it's going to go the way that Trump thinks it's going to go. But I'm not worried about having to follow through on that promise, because while I'd love to be wrong about all of this, the numbers, the experts, the churning pit in every economist's stomach is still very much a real story. I literally will promise all of you, if it doesn't happen, if it all goes the way that they say it's going to go, and we enter the golden age, and we start making tons of fucking money, I'll write a huge apology note on the publication and say, okay, maybe I was wrong. But the fact of the matter is, I'm not worried about having to follow through on that promise, because it's not going to fucking happen. It's not going to fucking happen. So, as with the evening edition, I have paid Wald my analysis of these details. So, to give you guys a view into my thought process and where the fuck I think when I go through all of this shit, I went ahead and published free today the premium historical context that you need to hear that led to the, basically, this is my Federalist Papers. You know, Federalist Papers are like the cliff notes to the Constitution. These are my cliff notes to the writing of the article and why I arrived at this conclusion. So, the White House's most dangerous assumption, one that threatens to accelerate our economic collapse, mirrors a pattern of hubris that has repeatedly devastated economies throughout history. There's actual historical context here because it's fucking happened before. They're operating under the delusional belief that global trade partners will either quickly capitulate to American demands or that their retaliatory measures won't significantly impact the U.S. economy. And that's bullshit. The assumption isn't just wrong, it's a catastrophically ignoring element of historical context. The most glaring historical parallel comes from Hoover's administrations and the disastrous implementation of the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act in 1930. Facing economic uncertainty, Hoover's team believed that protective tariffs would shield American industries and force favorable terms on trading partners. Well, guess what? That didn't fucking happen. It just didn't happen. So instead, it triggered a devastating cascade of retaliatory measures. Within 2 years, over 25 countries enacted their own steep tariffs, causing global trade to collapse more than 65%. And it didn't strengthen America. It helped turn America into the Great fucking Depression. Similarly, Nixon's 71 Nixon shock, for those that don't remember, import surcharge was designed as a temporary negotiating tactic, but severely damaged international economic cooperation, contributing to the stagflation crisis of the 70s. This assumption, then as now, was that America's economic might would force others to yield quickly. It didn't. Instead, it accelerated inflationary pressures, damaged diplomatic relationships that took years to repair, and very likely caused the inflation hike during Carter's presidency, which then drove unemployment way the fuck up, and the late 70s stagflation problem happened. So, more recently, during Trump's own term, from 2018 to 2019, trade confrontations with China demonstrated that modern economies have far more resilience against external pressure than the White House seems to understand. Why the fuck they don't get this, I don't know, but they don't. So, despite substantial tariffs, China did not capitulate to American demands. If they didn't capitulate to American demands then, they're not going to capitulate to American demands now, and they're going to tariff the fuck out of the U.S., and we're going to lose. Instead, they strategically diversified their supply chains and export markets, permanently reducing America's economic leverage. The promised manufacturing renaissance never materialized. Instead, American farmers lost markets that they may never be able to return to. The current White House appears dangerously ignorant of all of these historic lessons because it's happened before. Remember, Reagan told everybody tariffs don't work. Reagan, the Republican god, the president that everybody in this country for a long time that was a Republican believed was the greatest president that ever lived or that ever operated or whatever. I don't know that I agree with that because, 2 years of his last term, he had full-blown Alzheimer's, but, what the fuck. Anyway, so the White House doesn't get it. And they're assuming American economic dominance grants immunity from the fundamental rules of a trade war. It does not. They're overlooking that even at the height of American supremacy following World War II, attempts at economic coercion failed so spectacularly that they should have learned never to do it again. Not that they didn't do this. What makes this assumption particularly dangerous now is the timing. Every historical precedent shows that launching trade wars during periods of existing economic vulnerability magnifies that damage exponentially and makes it completely fucking nonsense. With inflation barely contained, supply chains still recovering from pandemic disruptions, and manufacturing already weakened, this administration is lighting a match in a room already filled with a shit ton of gasoline, and it's going to catch on fire. And the historic blindness isn't just misguided, it's potentially catastrophic for the American economic stability and global standing because, I don't know, Donald Trump doesn't give a shit. Fuck that guy. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on. Why does he care? Ugh. Okay. Now, gonna go through the questions here. Okay, so Amber, that's the one thing that confuses me. If people have to pay for the tariffs, why the fuck are other countries going to tariff us? It'd be easier to do a trade embargo, wouldn't it? It would be easier to do a trade embargo, but a large body of the other countries that are being tariffed still want to have that trade relationship. And really, a trade embargo is going to hurt the populace of those countries too. I don't necessarily want to do that. A trade embargo, like a universal isolate the U.S. and every country in the world trade embargo the U.S., we would fall into a depression faster than you could fucking blink. And while I think that there is now a certain amount of damage that should happen to the country, that would make things even more difficult for everyone all the way around. Uh, we'd be so far deep in, it's not funny. Um, and yeah, Diosa Luna, um, I ardently believe that the protests that we saw on April 5th, um, those are things that we are going to continue to see more and more of as the situation gets worse and worse, because it's going to get worse and worse. Oh, and then here's the thing. Why Navarro believes that the golden age is going to happen, or why Trump believes this. Here's why. The tariffs have gone into effect. Now, Trump believes that if they get the tax cut pushed through the Senate and the House, that tax cut to the billionaires are going to cause the billionaires to ramp up jobs and increase the economy. So the tariff deal is tied entirely equidistant to the tax cut. And that's only if they can get the tax cut pushed through. Now, here's the thing. There are already Republicans in the House and the Senate that are lining up to go against Trump because they don't believe that any of this is going to happen. So if the tax cut doesn't go through, so the only way in Trump's mind that this works is tariff and tax cut. It's not going to work. I don't know, but regardless. So tax cut for the rich, tariff everybody outside the U.S. That's the formula for the golden age that Trump is talking about. Now, of course, he's not listening to economists. He's listening to Russell Vought and the Project 2025 people that are trying to convince him that this is the way to go. It fucking isn't. Not even close. So it's all bullshit. So that's the formula. Outside of the formula for the tariffs themselves, which is just trade deficit. Regardless, anyway. So in Trump's mind, the only way that this happens is tax cut and tariff. So those are the two components for the golden age that Trump is talking about. And it's not going to work. It's really not going to work. So, Maggie, isn't it because he wants to tank the U.S. to purposely sell us out to Russia? No. He wants to create, as I just said previously, a tax cut for the top 5% people in the U.S. because he thinks if he does that, amidst the tariffs, that it will cause those people to invest in their businesses, create more jobs, and as a result, cause a new manufacturing and growing and great America revolution, which brings everybody back. It's not going to do that. We've been a global economy. The world has been a global economy for the last 30 years. That's not going to change. And if Trump tries to isolate the U.S. to cause that to happen, we're going to suffer immeasurably. So Trump is in his who gives a fuck mode, doesn't care about optics anymore. Why is that? He thinks that he's secured power to the extent that nothing will dislodge him. Let's see how that works out. Yeah, I completely fucking agree. And give me just a second because per my usual behavior, give me 1 second, everybody. All right, so and metaphor, yes, I agree with you. The dementia that Trump is experiencing is probably going to get worse if it's not already as bad as you can possibly imagine, because it probably is. So, Rouser, is there any way, due to constitutional crisis, that we can have the marshals remove Trump and his sycophants? Right now, no. It has to get worse. It has to get much worse before we can get to the point where marshals can step in and say, you need to sit the fuck down. I mean, there's going to have to be, I hate to say this, but the more that the situation continues, the more likely that we are headed right towards A24's civil war, where we see states start to secede from the Union and take actions against the U.S. Hell, I mean, Maine, holy fuck, Maine just might go directly to Canada at this point and break up the continental United States, which I wouldn't be shocked by, but that's one thing. Um, yeah, Diosa, I clearly agree that war is definitely coming because Trump still believes that, in his meeting with Netanyahu yesterday, asserted that the U.S. should own Gaza and control it. Trump still wants to invade Greenland. Trump wants to make Canada the 51st state. And Trump wants to still take the Panama Canal back. That's going to take significant military action. He won't be able to economically bend that to his will. He can threaten whatever economics he wants. Europe will rush in to defend Greenland and Canada, and then all of South America will rush in to defend Panama. That means full-scale war, full-scale conflict. That happens. That costs money. That's going to cause even more recessive shit to happen because Trump's going to have to bend billions and billions and billions of dollars in defense spending to make all of that happen, if even he can. And then, yeah, Rouser, so we're losing all this shit, and now he wants to spend $100 million on a birthday parade for his 79th birthday. By the way, and I talked about this yesterday, the fact that the streets in D.C. were not meant to hold the weight of an M1 Abrams tank. They're not. This happened before, actually. So DC's roads weren't rated to carry a full tank, but Trump wants tanks now. So the civil engineering teams in DC are trying to route a path around the city where those roads can handle a tank because Trump wants tanks and a big military send off for his birthday, which I don't fucking get. It's bullshit. So, Amber, my question is, why do these countries want tariffs against us when their own people are going to pay for it? It'd be easier to just do a trade embargo. So again, yeah, a trade embargo would be easier. They can't afford to do that. It would just be easier for them to reciprocal a tariff back. Now, again, that turns into a one-up match. This guy versus you nuke me, I'm going to nuke you back. You nuke me, I'm going to nuke you back. Over and over and over again until the situation gets bad enough that everyone says, fuck it. I mean, this is bullshit. And then we end up going into a depression. So, and I will tell you, my staunch belief is that if we go into a recession and we start deeping into depression, I believe that somebody is going to vote from a rooftop with a ballistic gas powered projectile to try to correct the situation. That is what I believe is going to happen. And that is what I think is going to happen if we even get to that point. I'm just hoping that he will be deposed before that happens. But the likelihood that it is going to happen increases every day. S. Ramsey, he has this crazy idea that there are 90,000 empty factories ready to get started. No, there's not. I mean, you can say that, but it's not fucking true. What about the potential imposition on martial law on 420? What do I think about that? Here's the thing. If he declares martial law, that's going to create such a large amount of civil unrest, he won't be able to control it. You saw the people that protested on the 5th of April. If he attempts to claim martial law, it's going to get worse. It's going to get much worse. And by the way, he will disappear and never go into D.C. ever again, because I don't know if a lot of people know, but D.C. and the surrounding Maryland area is very fucking blue. So you watch. He declares martial law. He'll go down to Florida where it's safe for him to be seen outside while martial law nationwide is going on. Because, yeah, if martial law gets claimed, then he's fucked. That really will be it. He really will get screwed over. Um, so I've heard the rumor about Greenland wanting to buy California. I think what it was, Greenland's prime minister said that. Um, I don't know. I'd be supportive of it. I mean, I think, sure, why not? Of course, if that happened, we would run into an agricultural nightmare because um, basically a large portion of America's internal agriculture comes from California. And if California leaves the Union and joins another country, say Canada or Greenland or whoever, then that's going to cause us to go into a full depression. There's just no question about that. So yeah, the martial law thing, I'm just going to tell you, I don't think that that's going to happen because here's what happens. If it does happen, the civil unrest is going to be uh, exponentially larger than you have already seen. Um, yeah, I saw it too. It was bullshit. And yeah, I could see where Trump, like, he got protested by a bunch of people. If that keeps happening, that makes it likely that could happen. Like, yeah, like if he gets enough protests and people calling for his head, then yeah, I could see him trying to pull a Maria Antoinette, let him have cake. I just don't think it will end well for him, and I think that um, uh, oh, um, okay, here we go. Um, so Mike Johnson is racing to get Republicans behind a Senate passed framework for enacting Trump's domestic agenda. Trump himself is set to meet with House Republicans today, this afternoon, but conservatives say they are skeptical his pressure campaign will win over holdouts because it probably won't. Um, in the Senate, lawmakers are set to hold a final confirmation vote on Eldridge Colby, Trump's controversial pick as the Defense Department Undersecretary for Policy. Meanwhile, Trump's administration is vehemently defending the tariffs announced this last week, even as business allies and even many GOP lawmakers are becoming increasingly unsettled by the tumbling economy and markets that are affected by this. Um, and so Senate Democrat is trying to. Ron Wyden is trying to put a bill on the floor to block Trump's tariffs skills again. What tariffs Trump can make and what he can't make, and so yeah, that's really bad. And then on top of that, the Supreme Court yesterday. So the Supreme Court yesterday said that Trump can continue to use the Alien Enemies Act, which completely shocked me. I'm very scared of that. And then the Supreme Court blocked the return of Agrepo Garcia. Both of those things have me very scared about what SCOTUS is going to do and how SCOTUS is going to behave. Um, so the Freedom Caucus chair, Andy Harris, said he was invited to the meeting this afternoon for the budget resolution. He's not going to attend. He's come out and said, "No, fuck you guys. Trump's not going to pressure me in any way." There were a number of representatives that were not invited to Trump's meeting over pressuring people to accept his decisions. So Eli Crane and Ralph Norman said that they were not invited to Tuesday's meeting with a group of House Republicans and President Trump. By the way, I have to say this. I'm not a huge fan of Ralph Norman, the Republican House member from South Carolina. However, his niece sits about 20 feet away from me, which is really fucked up. So I hear all kinds of bullshit about Uncle Ralph and the way Uncle Ralph behaves. And if even half of that shit is true, it's a fucking nightmare. his niece lives in my house and is one of my roommates, which is kind of fucked up. Um, Norman, by the way, uh, while being a complete and total, I could tell you stories about Ralph Norman from South Carolina. He is he is the worst kind of Republican that there is. Yeah, Diosa Luna. Here's the thing about Ralph Norman. Ralph Norman is such a disgusting Republican House member that his own niece, who is trans, by the way, he refuses to recognize that and has tried to convince her mom to get his niece into conversion therapy so that she'll stop being a girl, which is really fucked up in my opinion. Yeah. Her mom does not come to this house very often. She's been here a couple of times. The last time that she was here, I told her, don't fucking come here again. Just don't fucking come here again. Yeah, it's fucked up. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I'm a trans woman. I'm a druid. I'm a healer. I'm a mother. And the measure of Ralph Norman and his family that have done to that girl, the psychological trauma that they have done to this girl is tantamount to the fact that literally we have to take care of her. They literally have so psychologically damaged her that my partner and I, along with our kids, have to watch out for her because she can't fend for herself at all. It's a nightmarishly fucked up situation. It really is. I proof positive that I'll just put it this way. This child is 29, 30, actually, I'm sorry, 31 years old now. They are so psychologically damaged from Norman and his family that at the age of 29, she finally got her driver's license because she didn't have one before that. And at the age of 30, she, under my guidance, because I became her mother, because her mother never treated her appropriately. And so I spent a year working with her to get her into a healthy space, find a job, take care of herself, all of those things, all of the things that her own mother never taught her how to do. And so at the age of 30, under my guidance and my partner's guidance, she got into her car, went to a Burger King by herself, sat in the Burger King, ordered lunch, and then left. And that literally was the first time in her life that she had ever gone into a public restaurant by herself and done something for herself entirely independent of someone else. Before that, her social anxiety was so bad, so drastic, so way off the scale that doing something like that was completely unknown to her. Completely unknown to her. Her brother, her twin brother, by the way, he's so fucked up. He literally can only go to the same restaurant every day to eat lunch, which is a Chipotle, which is down the street from the house where her brother lives, because her brother doesn't live here. Her brother lives with their dad. And yeah, we don't talk about Boog. We call him Boog. We don't talk about Boog very much, but Boog is a Trump tit sucking Republican libertarian, what the fuck ever, who basically has 25 different fully automatic weapons, tactical gear. He has a pair of $25,000 night vision goggles, and he dreams of joining the military, even though he is way too overweight to do that, and so he'll never actually accomplish that. So he literally sits in that house all day on his trust fund money that he gets from the family every month, which is how she survives, and basically plays Call of Duty all day and tells his family that he is a stock trade investor, and that he makes millions of dollars selling and trading stocks. And I just sort of laugh at it. And so Boog, and the reason we call him Boog because I, I've seen him one time. He is the living embodiment of a Boogaloo boy with his Hawaiian shirts and his tactical gear and his knee length Hawaiian shorts, and his belief that a race war is going to eventually take over. Uh, 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 yeah, right. Anyway, it's fucked up. But anyway, so yeah, I can give you guys chapter and verse about Ralph Norman and his entire family and how fucked up they are. And it's not great. I promise you it's not great. So anyway, so Ralph Norman, who is so far fucking right, it's not funny, was not invited to Trump's meeting with the other GOP leaders. And so that didn't even make fucking sense to me. So, okay, there we go. Sorry. I'm off my soapbox now. I'm sorry for ranting. I apologize, everybody. I can't help it. I just get going and then I can't stop. Does anybody have any more questions before we end the session this afternoon? As I drink my McDonald's Diet Coke. Let's everybody take a deep breath. Let's breathe, everybody. Take a deep breath. Holy fuck. How do we get here again? This is why we can't have nice things. This is why we can't have nice things. Hi, Anna Christine L. Ebert. How are you? Yeah, look, I'm trying to give everybody hope, but in the end, I mean, it feels kind of hopeless. But at the same time, I'm just trying to give everybody hope. That's why you should read the morning meditation. You really should listen to the morning meditation. It helps. Believe me, it helps. It's very therapeutic. It's very, very therapeutic. I promise you. So with that, if nobody has any questions, I'll close. So first and foremost, I want to thank you all for being a supporter of the publication. If you're a paid subscriber, thank you for being a paid subscriber. I'm really trying to do this every day as my daily job, and I can't do that without your support. So if you're not a paid subscriber, please consider. But if not, continue being a free subscriber and continue sharing my work with other people because it's important. We need to get the word out to everybody. These are important things. If you're in a safe space, stay in your safe space and do what you can. If you're not in a safe space, do what you can to get into a safe space. If you're not there, ask one of us. Everybody on the crew at Wendy the Druid is a supportive individual. And if we can help you, we can, or find you a resource that will help you get to where you need to get to. I want everybody to remain strong. Stay strong. Keep it together. I can't do this without you guys, obviously. I want to think that you can't do it without me. I'm very thankful for that. I love you all, and I just want you all to be safe and informed. So please stay safe, stay informed, and remember that you're all valid.